Of course I'm talking about Star Wars. What the fuck, and what a great intro. Um, so I'm just chilling here in my living room, and when couple, I don't know if it was last year or earlier this year, when J.J. Abrams announced he was going to be uh, making the Star Wars, the new episodes of Star Wars, I did not give a shit. I didn't really give a shit. Why? Because I'm 39 years old and I grew up with Star Wars, and I had to live through the prequels, as we call the dark times. But and I like J.J. Abrams' work, Lost, and the Star Trek reboot. But you know, I mean, I was just when I first saw back in 1999 when I went to see The Phantom Menace, I was like 26 years old, so, and I was an adult, and I was like, okay, you know, these things never live up to what, or not, it's not going to live up to my expectations, but I was sitting in the theater, I was like, this better be good, man. I mean, this better deliver. And I was like, oh man, then the scroll came up after the Star Wars title, you know, disappeared into space, and it was talking about a trade blockade and senates and politics and stuff that just, you know, why would I want to watch this movie? Why would I want to go see a Star Wars movie? That's not what I want to see. You know, I want to see, like, boom, like a big headline, you know, like war, and, you know, the princess is captured. No, we're gonna have a Senate hearing, and it's been talked about and talked about and talked about, so it's whatever, that blows. And that, like, okay, special effects wise, those movies, they have their merit, but as far as compliment, I mean, the one bit of divine intervention there is that he did things out of sequence. He didn't start with episode 1 back in 1977, because if he trotted out that fucking turd back then, and maybe it would have done well, I don't know, because of the, you know, if he had those groundbreaking effects back then, it really didn't matter that it didn't have the plot of episode 4. But the old movies, I mean, you're trying to take those scenes where Luke is looking out over the desert, and there's the two suns on Tatooine, he's looking out into his future, and then you contrast that with the scene where Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi are, like, arriving at the Trade Federation ship, and it's boring, and they're gonna have tea, and then they realize it's a trap, and stupid, who cares? And, you know, and that's the thing, I mean, with those films, there's no, like, Luke Skywalker in that. There isn't the protagonist, and that's why they kind of, and that's where he failed at that, really. He had too many of these fucking characters and too much, you know, lasers and explosions and stuff going on, and then really awesome effects, but no real, I mean, the central character you think would have been Obi-Wan Kenobi or Anakin. And Anakin was a kid in the first one, and you didn't like him because he's a kid. Like, oh, Darth Vader's a kid. Fuck this shit. I mean, this is Darth Vader, man. He's not some kid from a cereal commercial saying yippee. So, you know, we didn't like that. And anyway, to just speed through this, I just found, I mean, I kind of gradually like them. Over, you know, episode 2 was a little bit better. It was a little bit, you know, it has some cool shit in it. Still pretty ridiculous, but when you compare it to the old movies. And the third one is, like, things are starting to look more like old Star Wars. The later chapters, the ships are looking like it, like cosmetically it's looking like it, but Hayden Christensen, who played Anakin, was just, I'm not saying he's a bad actor overall, but he just kind of sucked at it. And there's some good scenes in it. I mean, that was kind of cool when, even if it didn't even make any sense, after a while you're just like, okay, I'm going to try to enjoy this movie for what it is, and just, you know, okay, I'll watch this. Okay, the Emperor got fucked up when he was shooting his laser bolts at Mace Windu, which is one of the characters I did like, played by Samuel L. Jackson. He's using his lightsaber and it's zapping back, and the Senator Palpatine gets deformed, who is Darth Sidious throughout the trilogy. He's also Darth Sidious. He's the one trying to fuck with Anakin's head. And okay, I like Darth Maul. He was kind of a cool, just character in there. Irregardless of the rest of the movie, he looked cool. He looked menacing, and he had the double lightsaber with the crazy ninja thing, whatever you want to call it, and he was pretty badass. And so Qui-Gon gets killed in the end of the first one, and then Obi-Wan of course cuts Darth Maul in half, and then the second one, Anakin's sort of grown up, and Queen Amidala is a Senator Amidala, and she's looks the same as the first one, but like Anakin was quite a bit younger than Queen Amidala. Like he was 9 or 10 and she was 14, but she looks 16, 17. So he's younger than her, and she's smarter. She was in power and stuff like that. I mean, Queen Amidala. So, it is. I mean, that's the thing with Darth Vader too. He's kind of stupid. I mean, he's just kind of like just angry, pissed off adolescent, and he's starting to, he's getting kind of going through adolescence, man. I mean, he wants to fuck, and Queen Amidala's there. She's pretty damn hot, and she's kind of resisting it because Jedis can't have girlfriends or wives. But whatever, they get secretly married by the end after Anakin gets defeated in a duel with Count Dooku, gets his arm cut off, and they put the artificial arm on him kind of to parallel what happened to Luke in Empire. And then Count Dooku fights Yoda. Yoda fucks up his shit because Yoda's a badass, and I like Yoda in it, but I guess I like Yoda more as a kind of the older one that was on Empire, because the scenes were just more dramatic and it meant something, I mean, when he's trying to mentor Luke on Dagobah in the later chapters in the old movies, which is why it's so confusing to explain this to someone who's never seen any Star Wars movies. But it's, I grew up with them. I've got I have this. This is the reissue that, of course, Lucas when he butchered the movies in the 90s. This is the VH1 one I bought probably in 2000 or 99, before they came out with DVDs were more prevalent. So this is where he puts Jabba the Hutt, which is depicted in this scene in this little plastic sculpture piece of shit I bought, when after Guido shoots Han first, which didn't happen, Jabba the Hutt confronts Han Solo by the Millennium Falcon after he kills one of his hitmen and doesn't kill Han Solo, who by the way is a freaking drug dealer, for God's sakes. I mean, he's a drug smuggler, for God's sakes. I mean, put him in the context of that's like making Walter White in Breaking Bad nicer. It's just stupid. You just don't do it. You ruin the character of Han Solo. I mean, and why would, of course Guido misses it from 3 feet away. So he's the shittiest fucking, gun in the West, or at least in Mos Eisley. And then the rest of the trilogy, and he puts in all this, he changes other subtle nitpicky things, which I didn't really care about, but those things in the first movie fucking sucked, and plus he took out all the old effects from the 70s and the look of those movies, which is how I like them. And this DVD edition has both versions, so I can watch the old ones whenever I feel like being nostalgic. And they're better. They look better to me. But the prequels, and this is from the prequel, this is one of the droid army robots on the little, flying evil vehicle, and it shoots missiles and and it's stupid. The droid army. And, and they took Boba Fett, which was a cool character that was kind of mysterious, and gave him a bad childhood in the second movie. You see his dad is his father is one of, I guess, the guy they cloned off of. I don't even remember because I haven't seen those movies in a while. But Boba Fett's a little kid, and Mace Windu cuts his head off when the big fight scene's happening in the Clone Wars, and then he picks up his dad's helmet. It's like, oh, your dad's head just got cut off. You don't pick it the fuck up. And you think his head would have fallen out of the helmet, but it did. It's just weird. It was kind of this really non-bloody, scene where he gets his. I don't know. It was pretty fucking brutal. He could have stabbed him. He didn't need to decapitate him, but I guess it was more dramatic. And then, of course, the last one, Anakin. I mean, the thing is, and Obi-Wan leaves Anakin at the end of Revenge of the Sith for dead. Cuts off all his limbs near the magma river, and he just lets him burn. Oh, man, he's gonna be fucking dead. Oh, I'm never gonna worry about him again. And then the dude takes over the whole, the Emperor just uses him to help take over the galaxy and shit, and at the end he's just sitting there, oh, there's the Death Star being built, which nobody else knew about in the meantime. During this whole war going on, there's nobody, none of the Jedi or anybody found out there's this big space station that they're going to use that can blow planets away is being built. And then Darth Vader's just kind of looking at it. The one cool thing about Star Wars that from the old movies that was, he appeared at the end of Revenge of the Sith, and he's only there at the end, and he's like upset because the Emperor told him he killed Padme in his anger. Like, he didn't remember what the fuck actually happened at all. When, of course, Padme died giving birth to Luke and Leia, and then you see Luke and Leia with their baby, so who gives a shit? I don't care. And then Senator Organa orders that the droid's memories be wiped clean, so that's why they don't remember anything. I guess, but I don't know why Darth Vader doesn't remember that he built C-3PO in the first fucking movie. I mean, for God's sakes, he never mentions it, and it's just, there's a lot of things, like Yoda and Chewbacca were friends, and I mentioned this in another video, so it's not a past Star Wars video from a few years ago, but here I am talking about it again, like 4 years later, I think. And yeah, I don't know why you would just do that to your trilogy. It was just awful. So I think that's about all I have to say about it. But I'm not all of that excited about seeing this new round of films. I just don't give a shit. Take your 5-year-old kid to see it if you have kids. I don't. I'll wait till they come out on home video or watch, hope they get leaked on the internet, because I will not pay to see those films. I'll probably go see those films, I'm sure. I'll cave. If I saw Kick-Ass 2, I'll probably see those films.